Thumbs up. Everybody good?
You good? Yes.
Okay, Mr. Lee, you good?
Yes, sir.
You got your legal mind on?
Got it all.
All right. We're going to call to order the Effingham Board of Commissioners meeting this June 21st, 2022. It's 5:00 p.m. I'm going to ask everyone if they, let me call to order, call the roll first. Mr. Floyd is not here. Mr. Burdette?
Here.
Mr. Corbett's here. Mr. Deloach?
Here.
Mr. Loper?
Here.
Mr. Kiefer?
Here.
So records show that Forrest Floyd is not in attendance tonight. And with that, would everybody please rise as we seek the invocation from our Lord? Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Gracious Father, we are so thankful to be in this building tonight with our friends in this community, with this board that works so diligently to serve this community. There's nothing we could do without your wisdom and your help and assistance and your favor. We all exist by your grace and your mercy. And we give thanks tonight, and we ask for your wisdom as we listen to the business at hand, as we listen to our constituents. Give us the wisdom of Solomon that we might make decisions that are pleasing to you and good for those we serve. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have our agenda before us. Item number 5 on the agenda. Is there any corrections or additions, Madam
No,
Clerk?
sir, there are not.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented. Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Kiefer to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. We have our agenda. Item number 6 is the minutes consideration to approve the June 7th, 2022 regular commission meeting minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Motion to approve as presented.
approve. Second.
Motion Mr. Loper, second Mr. Deloach to approve the minutes presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. I want to welcome those who are here in attendance tonight from our community. Always good to have you here and participate in our government processes. We'd like you, if you want to speak to any agenda item, when you come to the microphone, please give your name for the record so we can know who is making a comment. If you can keep those comments to 2 or 3 minutes, that's always helpful so that everyone gets a chance to speak, and you can come back, if we need to clarify something as well. But please kind of lean into the mic, make sure we can hear you really good. All the documents and correspondences for this meeting are on our website, have been posted in our clerk's office. Hopefully you had a good chance to review that and are prepared well to express your thoughts and have good discussion at the time. And with that, we have a presentation. It's not 5:15, but are they here?
They are here, yes, sir.
All right, if you would like to make your presentation, we'll go ahead and take you early, and you won't have to spend all night with us unless you just want to stay for the enjoyment of the meeting. Since this is Effingham leadership, you probably want to stay for the entire meeting, right?
Okay, so thank you for giving us the time to be here this evening. We appreciate it. Public, thank you. We're going to present, so we hope you enjoy it. We are members of the Leadership Effingham Class of 2022. I am Sarah Nossoff. I'm the HR Director for Effingham County.
I'm Jean Lane with Ameris Bank. I am Tricia Boyette with Edward Jones.
I'm Katrina Lassie with Family Farms of the Coastal Empire.
I'm Alex Connerton with the Industrial Development Authority. And I'm Britt Jenkins with the Chamber of Commerce.
A lot of leaders in that group already, yeah.
So Matt, if you will go, we'll go ahead and start. We know your time is valuable here. This is just our class. We spent 8 months together. We met a couple times outside of that to work on this class project. So what we wanted to do was come up with a presentation PowerPoint, and we teamed up with Rail Yard Media to do a video also. So Matt, next slide. So kind of what we were thinking when we got together, trying to figure out what we were going to do. There's a lot of old Effingham, there's a lot of new Effingham, kind of people in between, where do I fit? We were trying to come up with a sense of, community, branding, stereotype instead of some of the bad stuff from before? How can we attract new businesses here, bring families, enhance kind of the positives that we have? So next slide, Matt.
Yeah, so our goal in doing this, we wanted to identify a cohesive image of Effingham County. So we put together a tagline with our group of about, what would you say, 13 people in our class. So why we decided to do this was because Effingham is a big county. It's developing really quickly. It's the 6th or the 7th fastest growing county in the state. So with that being said, we wanted to kind of highlight what the history of Effingham is and project where we're going with all these new people and all these new businesses that are coming in. And to do that, we wanted to get a branding of Effingham with the buy-in from the community. So Effingham in the past 10 years has grown at 25% and is going to grow 28% in the next 10 years. So by 2030, we'll have about 85,000 residents.
And with that, we wanted to focus on community branding and exactly what community branding is. And that is how we attract new residents, how we attract new businesses, and how we make a better community for our existing residents. We wanted to focus on 3 things, and that would be the public input. We would like to know how you all feel about Effingham County, what are the good, bad, and different. We also want to look at the design. What could be a tagline when you think about our community? What would be our logo? So when you see that logo, you instantly think Effingham County. And then we wanted to look at brand applications. What is the best and brightest organizations we could connect with that could create those things that our community wants?
This is a strategic process that we wanted to make sure was open, transparent, and we want everybody to feel like they're a part of the process. So the first step with the public input would be a creation of a steering committee. The steering committee could involve our public officials. It could also involve residents, business owners, people from the school board, etc. We would have public meetings where anyone that wanted would be able to come and participate and give their opinions. We do online surveys for those that weren't able to come to meetings in person. Then we do an analysis of that. We do a community immersion tour, meaning that we would tour our own city and pretend that we are tourists in our own town. A lot of times when we live in our communities, we're busy with our day-to-day. We're going to work, we're picking the kids up from school, we're going to practice. And a lot of times we don't know or understand what the new things are in our community or how it's growing and the changes. We're going to analysis of our competition. Let's take a look at some other communities that we feel are doing a great job with their brand message, and let's see what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. And then through that process, we're going to identify our strengths and our weaknesses and what sets us apart. All of that goes into creating that final brand statement. What we came up with and going through the design process, which this is a little cart before the horse, but our class tag came up with a beginning of hometown feel, big city opportunity, meaning that in Effingham County, no matter what municipality you live in or if you live in the county, we still have that great small town feel that is really appealing to people. But we also have great amenities coming too with the growth. We use this information, we would use the final information from the public input process to come up with the final tagline, and we would also use this to create new brand image. And this is something that necessarily wouldn't be just for the county or just for the cities. It's something that we could use as a cohesive brand message with that logo. So the county and all municipalities could use the logo to complement what they're doing locally. All right, with that community profile, part of this, the attractions and amenities, scenic country back roads, creeks and estuaries, the Savannah River, lovely historic assets, of course, great schools, housing, our thriving business community, we have great recreation opportunity, and community events that just keep growing bigger and better every year. So our geographical location would be the entire county, Clio, Eden, Guyton, Meldrum, Lincoln, and Springfield. We started the process, normally when we go through this process, we get at least 3 proposals from community brand marketing companies that do this. We were able to get 2 in our time frame. One is our local, J. Del Sur Marketing, which is located in Rankin and produces Effingham and Cooler magazines. And the other is 365 365 Total Degree Marketing, which is based out of St. Simons, who has been working with EDAs, IDAs, counties, and cities for, or CBBs as well, for about 20, 30 years. We would like to show you, if you haven't seen it yet, the original video that came out of our process through Rail Yard Media. We are very lucky they have a non-stop.
There's something special about this land that lies between the Ogeechee and Savannah River. It's overloaded with this country's history, full of wonderful families that love and grow in it, and hardworking citizens that drive progression forward. Its endless beauty has brought people from all across the country to inherit the hometown feel that it offers. Heroes live, protect, and come home here. Stars are born and raised with opportunity knocking on every door. Effingham prides itself with safe schools that perform higher than 91% of Georgia's districts. A hospital that has received first place in patient safety. A farming industry that boasts over 50,000 acres of farmland. And a place to just let loose and have fun. Effingham County is more than just land, trees, and buildings. It's families, businesses, and opportunity. Effingham County is home.
That was excellent.
There you
Excellent. I would like for you to ask Springfield to paint their water tower and then stick it back in there. Or do some, you can do some color on it. That was an excellent presentation. Thank you so much. Does anyone know how many of these leadership academies we've had? It's been going a while. It's been going about 12, 15 years, hasn't it? Oh, wow.
They had it in 2004, because I went through it.
Yeah, yeah. So just as a heads up, this is a great place for, if you want to get involved in the community, or you are a community leader, but you want to understand more of government and how it works, because I know you visit different governments and IDAs and hospitals. They visit what's happening in the community. So it's a great educational tool if you're seeking to be a leader, particularly those leaders who are on the chamber. Great opportunity to be involved. Thank you so much. That was a great presentation. And Tim, we need to get together and see how we can use that. You may have already done that. That'd be a great tool to get out. I make one maybe small correction. Was this before Hyundai announcement, the population in 2030, or after the Hyundai announcement? Before? Yeah, I think we're gonna far exceed the 85,000 in probably just a few years with the Hyundai announcement. So you might want to update that a little bit too if you get a chance. Outstanding, good job, appreciate it. Any comments or questions from the board?
I thought it was excellent. It's really good.
Wonderful, wonderful job.
Very good.
All right, thank you again. That'll move us to number 10 on our index of our agenda tonight. This is our consent agenda. And you don't feel like you have to stay for the meeting. If you want to slip out, we won't slap you on the wrist. There are 8 items on our consent agenda. I'll read them all out loud, and then I'll entertain a motion to approve them all together. Item number 1, consideration to approve to renew a contract with Spatial Engineering Incorporated for GIS services. Item number 2 under the consent agenda, consideration to approve to renew a memorandum of understanding with the Effingham County Board of Education for the use of 7 school buses in the event of a disaster. Item number 3, consideration to approve a 3-year payment with Stryker for technical support agreement. Item number 4, consideration to approve and affirm ratification of a renewal proposal from Tar Heel Medical Billing, DBA Collection Software Incorporated. Consideration to approve, item number 5, consideration to approve and affirm ratification of a quitclaim deed and plat conveying infrastructure on a portion of Fairmont Drive to Cape Cove Homeowners Association. Item number 6, consideration to approve to renew the fire service agreement with the City of Springfield for a 1-year period. Item number 7, consideration to approve a contract with the state of Georgia for Family Connection. And item number 8, consideration to approve submittal of an employee safety grant application to the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia. That's our 8 items. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kiefer, second Mr. Loper to approve the consent agenda as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, the consent agenda passes unanimously. Got one item of old business, and that's the second reading. Consideration to approve a second reading of an application by Chesterfield LLC as agent for Janice Z. Bevel et al. For a variance from section 3.4 located on Hodgesville Road to reduce the required buffer between industrial and various zone parcels. Zone I-1, map number 434, parcel number 24, 24A, 26, and 26C. In the second district, the second reading was postponed because I think the applicant offered was it 24, where's that clerk? 24-foot
25
berm or 25-foot?
25 foot.
25-foot berm.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to step down for conflict of interest on this one.
Okay. If we notice that, note the record that Commissioner Burdette has stepped down for conflict of interest. All right, that's the, this is the second reading. The commission's already approved it. Is there any discussion? Is anyone here tonight? It's not a public hearing, but are you here because of this issue?
The berm?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, this isn't a public hearing, but I'll take a couple of comments just to see if there's anything new that board needs to consider.
I sure appreciate it, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay.
My name is Kenny Reddick. I live at 118 Jamestown Drive. Last commission meeting, we had a big innuendo about the berm versus 300-foot clearance, space between the back of Jamestown subdivision. It was all a long lengthy discussion as Mr. Roger Burdette excused himself from this topic and all, but he felt obliged to come out here with the rest of us and he come up to the podium and he decided he had.
Mr. Reddick, if you'd keep your comments to what you want us to hear as new information, we were all at the last meeting. We don't need to go over that.
Okay, well, I'll ask to have his comments when he came up here and spoke at the last meeting, when he excused himself from it, to be scratched from last meeting's minutes, because he excused
He
himself.
can speak as a constituent from down there. He recused himself, so he can actually speak just like you can as a constituent. But do you have additional comments or concerns that you want to raise tonight, other than what we already discussed?
Yes, sir. Considering about Alan Zipper, being he's on the planning board of the county, as he so-called stated, that it seems like to me, and I've asked several people about this issue, and it might be an answer for the county attorney, that it might be in collusion with him being on the planning board and him out there seeking people to sell this property to him and his partners to a warehouse. Okay. And on top of that, he owns a concrete company right across from the property.
All right, I'm not going to entertain any more discussion about collusion. You're welcome to file anything with the attorney or our attorney. We're looking to see if you had any more information, because the last time where we left it was, if it was me, I'd probably give you what you want, 300 foot, and then you have to look at it and hear it all the time. The 25-foot berm, the commission voted for that because they believe in the long run that is going to be a better thing for that community. So that's where we're at. If we have no additional information, we need to move on and see if
And then other people that had the second-story houses in the back of that subdivision, that the lights and the noise and everything, that would be looking right into their back window, and they'd be looking right out their back window to the warehouses and all. And as Mr. Deloach come up and said, at the end of all this discussion, he come up and said that I make a motion to build a berm. So.
Yeah. Because they really feel that will be the best interest of their constituents. That's why they did that.
I
Let's-
understand that
let's see
too,
if there's
so what's
anybody
the
else.
purpose? But, that's fine. I'll, be contacting the Secretary of State
Okay.
and have them investigate this whole issue, what's going on with the, Alan Zipper being on the planning board and selling the property, because like I said, I've spoken to several people about it, business people also.
Okay.
We all feel like it's some type of collusion involved in it.
Actually,
Thank you,
his
sir.
sister's the one that, his name's not on here, it's his sister, actually, that's doing it.
Sir?
His sister is the one that is handling this. He is not handling it, Mr. Bevel.
Well, that's really neither here nor there. I'm sure he recused himself and did all the legal things he needed to do when it came time to discussion. But is there anybody else that wants to speak of any other concern? I'll take one more comment, and we're going to take our second reading.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Stephen Redmond. I live at 148 Jamestown. And I was here and spoke last time we had this meeting 2 weeks ago. And we discussed a little bit about the width or the size of this berm, this proposed berm. And I think I speak on behalf of all of my Jamestown neighbors. And I also know a little bit of information about how this berm's probably gonna be built. Obviously, when land is cleared, you got a lot of debris. You got stumps, you got trees, you got bushes, and you got a lot of undercut funk, basically. It might be the best word for it. It's gonna save the land clearer and the person having all this stuff done if they can use all of this debris for this berm, which is, to me, is not really a nice manicured looking what we all think it might be,
Okay,
like some
first of all,
Disney World
yeah.
hill.
I mean,
So-
to clarify that, you can't use the debris for the berm. It's going to have to be a dirt berm.
Dirt brought in,
Yes.
or dirt
Well,
dug
they
out
can
of the
dig it there.
retention
They know
ponds.
where to get it from, but
Right.
you don't build berms with shrubs.
Right.
Yes.
Well, one of the things we discussed, and I think you really took note of this, is that this 3-to-1 ratio of a 25-foot tall berm is minimal, without even a flat top, is gonna be 150 feet at the base. Now, if I can't say we give up 150 feet for this variance, but if the 150 feet, that's where this dirt hill is gonna be built, it's gonna take up the whole 150 feet, which means, or more, depending on the flat top size, this dirt's gonna come right to all of our properties. And the wetlands are right behind, right behind my house is about 40 or 50 feet of wetlands behind the property onto this property. How in the world is that gonna work? You can't do a 3-to-1 ratio. And another issue I wanna mention quickly, I know.
It's just to answer that question, though, they did say that if it took more than the 150, it would be on their land. None of it's it may go up to your land, but it cannot go over.
Oh,
yours.
well,
Okay.
we hope that's the way it works. Obviously, it's gonna happen.
We do police that, yeah.
Two more quick issues. One, those woods back there, we've lived there for almost 20 years. All the people right there together, all of our neighbors have lived there. Those woods are infested with poisonous snakes. Regularly, we see moccasins, timber rattlers, diamondback rattlers, all in our yards. I mean, it's difficult to let the children play out there. I have 12 grandchildren,
Okay.
and every day I've got to walk beside them. That place is infested. Now, when they clear all this land and they disturb probably some of these wetlands, where do you think those snakes are gonna go? I mean, we all better be sitting out there with our 12 gauges shooting these snakes. Just recently, a 6.5-foot timber rattler was found in Joe Burdick's house, in his yard, 3 houses down from us. It's bad. Okay, if this berm is built with real dirt brought in, that's a pretty good issue there. The other issue, how about this? That's something we can all think about. You know, when you drive down to South Florida, they got neighborhoods everywhere along Interstate 95. They've got these big, huge walls. Wouldn't a wall be better than a berm? Wouldn't it be cheaper than a berm? You wouldn't have to destroy any of those woods or wetlands. There wouldn't be any erosion back into the wetlands to stop the drainage from the neighborhood. A wall, not a dirt hill. That's gonna wind up looking like crap. What's wrong with just building a wall? Okay, I think we should all be ready to give up the 150 feet. Okay, no problem, but at least just build a wall. Don't do a dirt hill. A wall won't erode. A wall won't You don't have to go get 800 billion dump trucks of dirt to build this massive dirt hill. And trust me, it's gonna be a lot of dirt as long as this thing is, and it's 150 feet at the base, 25 feet tall. You don't have to plant vegetation on a wall. You don't have to destroy those woods and wetlands. That'll give us a barrier. That's some nice woods that we can keep. So something to think about.
Thank you, sir. All right,
Mr. Corbett, I appreciate your time, all you fellas.
all right, thank you.
I think the wall is the answer.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna ask the commission, I just wanna get a couple of minutes. They came, so I was giving them a couple of minutes to talk. Is there any questions or discussion from the board before we take a vote? Any comments you wanna make?
Any additional?
Okay,
Nothing additional from last time.
all righty. So we're here for the second reading. Is there a motion to approve the second reading?
Can we vote on this? I mean, do we have the proper quorum?
have a drawing.
Weren't we supposed to have details?
We had a quorum. Four, we had a quorum.
Okay. Okay.
We have a quorum.
They were supposed to provide details of the drawing of the berm, detailed drawings.
I do recall that. They were going, yeah, are they here? Yeah, we need to show that at least. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Chance Rand with Chesterfield. I believe in your packets, you have the exhibit that we provided showing the berm as we discussed last week or 2 weeks ago.
Can we show that to the public just for information? Is it- You want me to read it? Is that best for me to do? Just read what's in our packet? So what the applicant offered was a 150-foot buffer of 25-foot high earthen berm, which answers the question, of upland portion, and a 50-foot undisturbed strip along the entire southeastern property boundary of Jamestown. So what you're saying now, if it takes more than 100 foot for the 25-foot berm to be engineered, you will not encroach on the 50 foot, as the gentleman's asking about going right to their property. That's going to be undisturbed.
So the way we had to design the berm is, of course, and I think I mentioned it in the last meeting, is the width of this berm is pretty substantial, and so it would probably impact the developable area, and that was the case. So the berm now encroaches outside of the 150-foot buffer into the developable area.
Okay.
And let me make clear too, please, that there are no wetlands, again, no wetlands along that property line that will be impacted.
Just for clarifications for the board as they do their second reading tonight, the 50-foot undisturbed buffer is still going to be there?
The undisturbed buffer will still be there.
Okay.
Now, and
So
also
if it takes
too,
more
down,
So if it takes more than 100 foot for the base, it's going to go,
it's gonna come into the developable area, correct. And, on the southern end, where the tree farm is, in the exhibit in your packet, it shows, the replanting of that first 50 feet, since there is no vegetation currently there.
okay? Very good. That's
And-
very helpful.
Mr. Chairman, and it's being emailed to me right now by Teresa, so I can put it up there in a second.
Well, I think the public can pretty well understand. If you want to put that, you can. It's a picture you're talking about?
Yeah.
Fixing it? Okay, we can show
I
that
could
to
just
us.
throw the picture up there and
But I
leave
think
it
the
up there for a
idea
little
that
while.
We're not going to use 150 foot and it's going to be all berm. We're going to be 50 foot back from the property owners adjacent to that property. We start the berm. If it goes into, if it needs more than a 100-foot base, it'll go into the developable.
That's correct.
That's what it says here. I just want to make sure I'm understanding it right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know that we need the picture. You can do it. We've described it pretty well.
Well,
I just think,
I'll just throw it up there for a few seconds and
Okay.
so folks can view it, and then,
do you have it now?
yeah, I have it now.
Okay. I'd like one to put it up there. So I'd like one to put it up there.
So, oops, everybody see that? So, if you would, you want to just show us where the 50-foot undisturbed, and then what's the berm? I'm assuming that green is the undisturbed.
So that's correct. So from the property line, towards the berm is the 50-foot undisturbed. And in some portions of that area, it's actually a little bit more than 50 feet because of the wetlands.
Right.
The depth
Gotcha.
or the width of the wetlands. So it's at least 50 feet undisturbed. And then in some portions, there's more undisturbed because of the wetlands. And then we get even further into the developable area with the toe of that berm.
Gotcha. And then you have whatever the berm is. If it's 100 foot, you have a 150-foot buffer. If it's 125, you have a 175-foot buffer. If it's 200 foot, you have a 200-foot buffer.
Right, depending on the topography, right?
Right.
If it's, the base ends up being 110 feet or 150 feet, that extra comes into the developable area.
Which creates a bigger buffer between the,
We maintain that undisturbed on the
Correct.
property line side.
okay?
So you're saying on the if it's a 20-foot high, what's the constant? What is your, what are you measuring 25 feet from?
That's from existing grade.
So whatever it is, okay. So theoretically, the topography won't change. The base should stay pretty much the same, right?
So it's
Theoretically.
I think it's gonna maintain a 25-foot height, right? So if the existing elevation in one
Yeah.
area is, let's just call it 100, and the existing elevation at the other end of the property is 95, it's gonna follow the existing contour. So
That's
it's
right.
25 feet all the way through.
Okay. So the base won't be the base should be staying the same theoretically.
Perhaps, I
Yeah.
think what we'll find in reality is when we get out there and because of the wetlands and the constraint of the wetlands, we may narrow it up a little bit on our side and maybe do it 2-to-1 with jute matting.
Mhm.
They keep it 3-to-1. But, regardless of whatever that width is, that extra width, it comes into the developable area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I was just gonna state, I'm kind of where I was last time. This may be the answer, but I think there are a lot of things we could work out in an ordinance, kind of determining all these specifics. I'm not sure this variance time is the time that we should have a bigger discussion on it. But that's my position.
Okay.
I'll just restate what I said last time. I think a 25-foot vegetative buffer is a big wall. I don't know of any other wall that we have like that in the county. I know that berms are used frequently in surrounding counties for separation. It pushes the noise and light up. And I think it's a much better solution than just 300 feet of open buffer. That's just my opinion.
Plus you got the 50 feet, it's gonna be
Undisturbed, yeah.
So it'll be behind that.
All right, so the last time we approved it with the conditions of the buffer and the no truck traffic on Hodgeville and so forth. If there's no additional conditions requested or given by the applicant, we're ready for a motion on the second reading.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Loper. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no?
No.
All right, so I guess I've got a vote.
You're a part of the conversation, but you don't have to vote.
We only got 3 votes. Is that okay? Is that okay in the quorum? Okay. Whew. All right, it's 2-to-1, and so it is approved, the second reading. Okay. We go to new business. Item number 1 in the new business. Consideration to approve the second reading of the fiscal year 22-23 budget and budget ordinance.
Returning, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, notice that Mr. Byrd has returned to the podium. One chance I thought I was gonna get the vote.
Good afternoon, I'm Mark Barnes, Finance Director. This is the second reading of the proposed fiscal year 2023 budget. Earlier this month, we took an in-depth look in the June 7th meeting at the first reading. So for this reading, I'm just gonna do like in years past and mainly just go through and go over the items that have changed since the first draft was read. So getting right into it, with the general fund, we've had a few changes since the first reading. We've received updated digest numbers and have incorporated those updated numbers into the budget. And just like with the first reading, we're still building this budget around the full rollback rate. That proposed rate went from 6.860 mils in the first reading down to 6.855 in the second because of the additions that were in the digest. For comparison, the actual M&O rate back in the fall was 7.337. We did have some EMS training equipment approved in fiscal year '22, but due to delays, it won't be here to 2023. So we did propose rolling those funds forward into this second draft. And with a new EMA coordinator coming on board during the hurricane season, EMA has requested a small pool of temporary part-time hours to be used during the transition period as needed and if needed for the, to assist with the new EMA coordinator. That's not a permanent increase to the overall headcount, it's just a temporary item. On the next item, the sheriff, the county manager, members of the board got together to address the personnel issues at the sheriff's office, and that plan has been implemented in this second reading, and it is by far the largest change between the first and second readings, was implementing those items. The general fund overall went from 44.9 million to 45.4, with that increase going to fund balance usage, which is still substantially lower than the approximately 5 million in total capital expenditures for the general fund for the year. In the special funds, the digest update was also incorporated here, and Parks and Landscapes did have budgeted in fiscal year '22 some funds to improve the lot conditions around their shop at CEM, and also because of some delays like we saw with EMS, those materials won't be here in time for fiscal year '22. So we've proposed rolling that forward into this fiscal year '23 budget. And they also did have to have several mowers end up in the shop recently, so we've included a proposed 72-inch zero-turn in the capital section. But the main item in the special funds, like the general funds, similar to that, there are rate increases here for E911, for code enforcement, and the building inspectors for some of the same reasons that the changes were proposed in the sheriff's office in the general fund. And lastly, we see the overall special funds expense changed very little between the first and second readings, in part because additional vacancies reduce the expected expenditures from the self-funded insurance fund. So overall, not much of a change in the special funds. Just a couple of items to note since the first reading. The second tranche of the ARPA funds have arrived. They have been electronically sent to the county, and they're going to come before the board next meeting for approval and acceptance. And the SPLOST bond that was part of this budget that was talked about in the first meeting, that was approved, and those funding has been received. And that's the bond funds for the county-wide projects that were on the 2021 referendum. And lastly, finance is going to be monitoring the budget very closely this year for any inflation issues. And we do expect at some point to have to request amendments as the year progresses, but we chose to wait if and until those needs arise before putting those inflation adjustments in there. And with that, if there's any questions or comments, the floor is open for that.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Thank you for all your hard work on the budget. This has nothing to do with the budget, just I thought about as you're going through this. We have a lot of bonding of money and things, a lot of cash in our account, although it's committed. What is our insurance, and not that I don't trust you and your staff repeatedly and our county manager, but what is our bonding limit on the misappropriation of funds? Do you know?
I'd have to research that to find out.
Would you check that for us? Because I wonder if we need to go up. It might have been $1 million at one time, and it may still be there. It may need to be $10 million.
Right.
I just thought about that. It affects your rate, I'm sure, on your insurance, but just probably a good time to check that.
Yes, sir.
What's the old saying that anybody given opportunity in need could be, including myself, could do something we don't mean to do. So I think I would check that.
So we're doing a 0.5% rollback to help with the, I guess, the real estate prices or real estate values.
That's correct. So it's going to equate, and obviously this is a moving target as the digest constantly adjusts itself. But at last reading, it's almost a 0.5 mil rollback, and that would account for a full rollback. So we would not have to have any sort of public hearing on any sort of a tax increase since we're rolling back the full required amount.
Okay. And we're trying to With the sheriff rate increases, we've recently been running into, I guess, some pretty stiff competition from surrounding agencies on pay, and we feel that this is going to help the sheriff help retain personnel. As our county continues to grow, that's definitely very important with our public safety.
Yeah, I think, appreciate it. Yeah, I think we've done some things for some other staffers as well, because we have to prepare to make sure we take care of these folks, particularly in light of the national view of policing, and it's hard to get young men and women to get post-certified now. They don't have the support. We want to know they got our support. Any other questions, discussion? Thank you, Mark and staff, for your work on this budget. Appreciate it. So do you have a motion to approve the second reading?
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Kiefer, to approve the second reading for our budget 22-23. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, we have our budget. It's passed unanimously. I might make one note too. I want to say a few years ago, our millage rate used to be on 8 point something. Showed that we're probably one of the few counties that keeps rolling it back, and so that our constituents who already lived here, they have the minimal increase, and we pay for a lot of our growth through the people who come to live here, and new businesses, and we don't carry it on the backs of the long time. Item number 2. Under new, wait a minute, is that right?
Do we have to have a third reading, or we're done now?
That's done. We have a third reading, that's it?
That's it.
That's it, okay. Item number,
Maybe the third, had to be 3 public hearings, maybe, is what I'm saying.
item number 2, consideration to approve an amended intergovernmental agreement and resolution 22-30 between Effingham County and Effingham County Hospital.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe we have Lamisha, and Dr. Witt and Mr. Allard's here. But just to give you an update on this, several months ago, if you recall, a proposal was in front of the board for refinancing an existing bond that the hospital had through HUD. The original proposal was to refinance through HUD. After reviewing and further discussions with the hospital, we jointly agreed that the best option was to deny that and to look at other refinancing alternatives. And if you recall, that first one required an extension of the bond for a period of 10 years, which would extend the commitment from the county for 10 years as well. I'm happy to say that after working with the hospital, they've come up with a proposal that refinances the bond, does not add 1 year or any time to the existing agreement, keeps our annual financial commitment of $3.6 million the same, and it also relieves the hospital of a tremendous amount of regulatory burden by getting out from under the umbrella of HUD, and also frees up a lot of reserved funds that were required because of that regulatory burden for the hospital. So it seemed like a win-win for both sides involved. And if there's any other detail, I think Dr. Witt.
Dr. Witt, would you like to say anything or make a?
Oh, there she is. Oh. Yeah.
He probably took all your thunder. If you don't mind, come to the mic.
Sorry. Just to reiterate what he said, that this is an opportunity for us to re-engineer, refocus our financial structure, and move in the right direction as we continue to manage our environment under this public health emergency, and also manage the challenges that we're facing with supply chain and workforce retention issues that all of you all are probably hearing about across the nation. So thank you for the assistance and the support and the direction and guidance to support the health system. Any questions for me?
And just for the board, we did meet with the hospital and Dr. Witt, and they've already made tremendous progress in what's happening at the hospital. And so being relieved of this regulatory agency called HUD, I'm excited about what they're going to be able to do with the revenues they've got. And we'll always work in the future too.
Absolutely.
We have a great hospital, and we're excited about what you guys provide for this community. Thank you so much, and thank you.
You good, Mr. Al?
Mr. Al's the financial wizard behind all the work. All right. So we have a amended agreement. I don't have a sheet in front of me. We'll just approve the intergovernmental agreement. I'm gonna read again and just say so moved. Do I have a motion to approve the amended intergovernmental agreement and resolution 22-030 between Effingham County and Effingham County Hospital as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Deloach. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously.
Okay, we did it simultaneously. Okay, good. We're good. We just wanted to make sure we did an IGA and a resolution, but we did it under one item, so we're good. They're both in the
Yeah.
packet.
Yeah, I didn't see, usually there's a lead-in that says alternative one is to approve, and it wasn't on my,
There was no staff report.
There wasn't a staff report because it kind of came in after the deadline.
yeah, there's no problem. We got it approved. All right, item number 3, under new business, capacity agreement between Effingham County Prison and Georgia Department of Corrections.
Good evening, Allison Bruton, purchasing agent. The county has received the fiscal year 23 agreement with the Department of Corrections, which states the prison can house up to 192 inmates, for which the county will receive $22 per inmate per day. Staff recommends alternative one.
I mean, is 192, I mean, we keep that same amount all the time, don't we?
Yes, sir, that
More or
number
less.
hasn't changed over the last
Okay.
several years.
Okay.
And my understanding is the number they have is pretty close to that.
Okay.
So 192 is the full capacity? Okay, gotcha.
Was there a question from someone in the back? Okay. One thing, before we take a vote on this, and I have the board's support, I'm on task, Mark, since he's through with the budget, to get with our county manager, because I was talking with him today. We have a budget of about 3.5 million. We get about 1.1 million from the state. So we spend $2.1 million for our CCI. I am still not convinced that we couldn't hire 40 employees who work not 4 hours a day, but 8 hours a day, and be better off if the state's not willing to up the ante on that. So it's gonna involve some processes of determining if, I think we've been in the contract even before I was doing the audit of the county 35, 40 years ago. So, I mean, I think it's probably done. But I think it's time for us to do some analysis, look at that number, and say, what could we do with the net difference of $2.1 or $2 million in our county? Are we getting the bang for our buck with this CCI?
And how does that work? I mean, if we did, say we come up with the analysis and determination that, it's not working how we thought, I mean, is it just that easy? Can we?
We just don't
We
sign
don't
this
know. That's
agreement.
what the attorney's got to look and see. First, can we get out? And I
Yeah.
would think there'd be an out period. And if it's 2 or 3 years, you want to do it now so they can plan, because we can't just put them out on
Yeah.
the street.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking it might look like, we've done analysis and we can hire employees and it's no longer economically efficient for us. And manager and Mark in this analysis could say, if we had $28 or $30 a day, hey, we can make that work.
Yeah.
And we can make a proposal to them. I think it just starts the negotiation and starts the clock so that we can do a little better. Because you take $8 times 192 for 12 months. Oh, no, 365 days. That's a big number.
Well, we just got a raise to $25, I think. What?
It's 22.
It's 22, but that was, I think it stayed at $20 for 20 years,
Yeah.
I believe.
The $22 started in 2019. I had the same question,
Yeah.
that it hasn't gone up, but everything else has.
I know, our labor, we can't retain officers in the prison or our jail unless we have more hourly wage. much more than the 10% we've gotten over the last 2019, 20, 21, 24 years. So
It's a good deal for the state.
It's a great deal for the state. I just think, we've talked about it every budget year. I'm asking if the board approve it, let's task them in the next 90 days to give us, for planning for next year's budget. So we can start looking at, maybe at our workshop, go over that. We're talking about $2 million. What could we do with that $2 million? I gotta believe we could do some good stuff with that, unless the state can pony up. Another thing is research what they're paying around the state. That may be what they're paying around the state. We may find that others have already done that. Atlanta institutions or Macon institutions are getting a lot more. So there's a lot of, let's take some time. So maybe in the next 90 days?
Yes, sir.
All right, be great. All right, that's my little banter. Do you have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve all number one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Loper, second by Mr. Kiefer to approve alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 4, under new business, consideration to approve change order 1 with Southern Civil LLC for the water booster pump station at Old Augusta Road.
Yes, sir. So a pressure reducing valve is needed for the booster pump station to counteract a potential pressure issue at the Jasper Village development. The design and construction of the booster station will result in high pressure zones in some portions of the system, which is due to the pump's increased pressure and elevation changes in the system. So Southern Civil has presented a change order in the amount of $66,470.
I gotta ask quick, I hate to slow this down, but did they not have the, what do you call it, the water report that showed the pressures and everywhere when they made their proposal for the design and did the original design?
It's a great question, and Eric asked the same
Because that's why we
thing.
did that, so that they could do it. And when I see change orders, my flag goes up.
Thomas and Hutton did the design for the booster station, and after it was in construction, they were doing work for the Getsy Industrial Park and building the water tank that they have there. And in their modeling for the water tank, they have found this problem with pressure in that system at the bottom of the hill, so to speak, on the Highway 21, the line that goes down to Getsy and down to Old Augusta Road. After doing additional modeling for that tank in conjunction with the booster, they determined that a pressure valve was needed to mitigate some of the high pressures they were going to be finding in the homes within the residential neighborhood, Jasper Village. So we've already approved that change order. They designed that. We gave them some additional funding for that design some time ago, and they've got it designed, and we gave it to Southern Civil as a change order so that it could be built concurrently with the booster station and come online before the booster station was online.
So in short, the original modeling was before the water tower,
Yes, sir.
and that's why
The
they.
design and original modeling was before the
That's why
water
they
tower,
included, okay.
and the change came after construction started.
I think I can get my mind around that then. Okay, any discussion, question?
Yeah, with the, I know we agreed to serve additional, area outside in Port Wentworth.
Yes, sir.
Will that affect, will that,
No,
okay, it has nothing to.
it's on the same side of the valve as Jasper Village Section 1, which is in our county. So yeah, this takes care of both of those customers.
I got you.
And just so you know, it does not affect pressures going up Old Augusta Road to some of the industrial clients. They need that pressure. The residential didn't. So the valve is actually on the T.
Yeah, it goes uphill
the-
there.
We should
the
be going
T,
back
the
uphill
residential
too,
side of the
yeah.
T, yes, sir.
Okay, I thought if they had the modeling, why didn't they design it right the first time? But that explains it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, do you have a motion for alternative 1?
Make a motion for alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second Mr. Loper for alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. I believe that carries us number 5 in new business, consideration to approve change order number 4 with Marsh Construction related to Hodgeville Road Fire Station number 15.
Yes, sir. So Marsh Construction has requested this change order to account for the increased fees for the increased bonds based on the work approved in change order number 3. Staff recommends alternative 1.
Any questions or discussion?
Yes, we started out with the original contract was $215,000, and that's $988,000.
Yes, sir. That is because, if you recall, Marsh was only contracted to do the site work on this. Because we had trouble with the actual contractor that was going to do the erecting the facility, we terminated our agreement with them and then change ordered Marsh's agreement to include their services. So that's why there's such a deviation between the two, because they're now or they were originally going to just do site work. Now they're going to do site work and construction.
So they're going from site contractor to general contractor?
What's that?
So pretty much going from site contractor to
That's right.
general contractor, doing the whole thing?
What was the original total amount, Tim?
Even the total amount was less, but.
Original contract amount was, I've got my notes right here.
215,000, well, that
No,
was.
that was just the land.
That's just
part of it.
the site work.
The original, I had my notes right here. 215 for Marsh, 472 for Savannah Construction. That's 687 for the original building complete for the two contracts together.
So we're from
And with this
680.
contract, we'll be up to 1.19 million.
Wow. What's the big difference in is it cost
This is
differential?
988,000.
Well, that was the original.
988 is the contract for Marsh, but we already paid Savannah Construction 201,000 before they defaulted.
Oh, we did?
Yes, sir.
Can we get
For
that
work
back?
complete. I mean, it's work complete.
Oh, they did that much work.
If we build another fire department, we need to get a signed contract for the whole thing, so I think that's.
And that's normally, yeah,
Money.
that's right. And that's normally how we do it. Our numbers came in way above, this was a problem from the beginning. Our numbers came in way higher than our architect recommended or estimated, and so then we came out, and the previous engineer had recommended that we split it into two, site work and construction. And then the site work and then the construction contractor ended up not being able to honor his commitment to the project. But we had gotten delivery, and one of the big increases from the previous contractor was
Steel.
getting the building package in, because of, back then it wasn't even COVID. That's how far back this goes. It was.
I remember when
Yeah,
they
it was just-
delivered it, and you
this
had to
is-
go there and pay the people for the.
Yeah, this has been a mess, and quite frankly, it came in pretty close. This is today's market price, and so it came in actually pretty close to the identical station that we're building in Guyton. So it's where today's prices are, where the original contract where prices were 2 years ago, and
Yeah,
our
with the supply
contractor could
chain
not.
right now, they can't get materials. That might help the board kind of understand and have comfort with the price we're paying in total. What's the station in Guyton gonna cost us, total?
1.2, isn't
It
it?
came in at 1.2 million, and
And
that is
so-
a total site package.
So we're
for
really
one
maybe a little
contract.
below that. It's just higher than the original,
That's right.
but if we had,
That's a lot of money for what we
Yeah.
get.
but
Does
that's
make me
that's
feel
where the
better
market
that
is
we're
right
in
now.
comparison.
I get it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And this is one, gentlemen, just need to know we have to have, because we have a contract with Rinkin that we've got to take over. We're gonna lose resources there if we don't get this one
Yeah, I
built.
understand that.
And that's one reason we had to go ahead and negotiate with this contractor to see if we could just get it. We gotta get it done. Sometimes you get where you're up against the wall. If you don't get it done, it's gonna cost you more.
Right.
So with those discussion and comments, do I have a motion for alternative one?
I'll make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second by Mr. Deloach for alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 6, consideration to approve to council contract 22-25-008 with Ranger Construction and award updated contract 22-25-008-1 to Ranger Construction for the 21 full-depth reclamation and emulsions road resurfacing project.
So at the May 17th board meeting, the board did approve an agreement with Ranger Construction. Staff, Robert Civil Engineering, and Ranger Construction have worked to revise their unit prices and refine the road priorities to maximize the available funding that was approved previously. So the remaining funds, the breakdown of the roads and the new total are in your packet. The remaining funds in the previously approved contract will serve as a contingency for unforeseen expenses and justify quantity overruns.
That may answer my first question, and only question, I guess, is we're approving 8.212, but it says the firm price quote 7.7.
That decision was made just to cover any unforeseen issues or increases that we need.
Okay, so the contractor's still only getting 7.7. We're just approving management to cover those additionals that come up without coming back to the board, or?
I think the goal is to go ahead and approve the full 8.2 to keep that pricing that was previously approved. If you want to elaborate on
Yeah,
that.
that's what I
And
was
it's a
thinking.
unit
It said-
pricing, and we're going to get as far as we can with the dollar amount that we have. And so we've kind of broken that up into particular road projects. If we can get farther, we'll have additional funds to do it. If things come up and we can't get, if because there could be issues on site where we have to make some changes on site and it's a little bit more expensive for a road, then we have a cushion
But that
to operate
$500,000
from.
is for management's cushion to manage this. The contractor right now, if he does the roads you just listed, it's gonna be 7.7 million, right?
Right.
Right?
Assuming he lays exact, again, Tim just noted it's a unit price contract. So if the tonnage is exact, as the length of pipe is just exact, yes, 7.7. But we really basically said leave it at 8.2 because that was what was previously approved.
I'm with you. When I saw
So we
firm
pay
price
actual
quote, I
quantity,
thought it was a
not-
firm price quote for the roads. It's a firm price quote per unit of
That's right.
asphalt, pipe, whatever.
Yeah,
And they may find they
based
have
on our planned quantity, yes,
20
sir.
more feet of this or 20 more tons. I got you, okay.
I probably know the answer to this, but any chance of getting Scuffletown before school's back in?
I would say, yeah, I mean,
Supposed to start
we're-
July 18th, right?
The schedule we have from them is they will begin mobilizing July 5th. They have to bring their equipment in from Florida. They intend to hit the ground and start production on July 18th.
Yes, sir.
Project number 1 is Scuffletown.
It's gonna be tough
Maybe.
if it's not. Oh, my gosh.
School
But-
starts August 3rd.
August
so
3rd, yeah, it's gonna
uh,
be chaos if it's not finished before.
I've pointed that out to them, although the good thing about Scuffletown is even though it's used as a cut through in the mornings, it's a section of road that can be blocked off and not cause a lot of, it won't cause school traffic delay because it's not in the vicinity of a school. I mean,
Right,
it's gonna be
just
hectic on
exodus in the
the morning
morning.
commute, but
Right.
Okay. Any other question, discussion?
I'll gladly make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Mr. Deloach,
Second.
second by Mr. Loper. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 7, Ms. Burton, consideration to approve an SAAS service agreement with Just Appraised for the Tax Assessor's Office.
Yes, sir. So Just Appraise compiles various data sources about real estate transactions and creates a workflow that is designed to allow staff to process real estate sales more quickly. The annual fee for this agreement is $15,750, which is based on the number of deeds processed, so it is increased just a little bit from last year. And this is for the tax assessor's office. Staff recommends alternative 1.
Constituents might want to not help them speed up on their appraisals. They might want to slow down. Any question or discussion? Motion.
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Loach, second, Mr. Burdette, to approve alternative 1. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Always want to give the tools to our folks to do the jobs, for sure. Thank you. Item number 8, under new business, consideration to approve task order number 4 with Alliance Consulting to prepare a design, plan, and construction oversight of a spray field expansion on Low Ground Road.
Good evening, Commissioners. It's Eric Larson, Assistant County Manager. This is amendment number 4 to the task order that was given to Alliance under the indefinite delivery contract for engineering services to do the water sewer master plan. You'll see in the executive summary a listing of the previous amendments. This is amendment number 4 related to the spray field at Low Ground Road. In the summary up there, you see part 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the design work needed to get a spray field designed, permitted, and constructed. And we had previously initiated Part 1 with EOM. Part 2 was taken over by Alliance as one of the previous task orders. And then this one is a continuation of those services by Alliance to finish the design and oversee construction for that low ground road spray field. This is amendment number 4 to that original task order, and the amount of this amendment is $155, and staff is recommending approval.
340 days concerns me. And I think Mr. Deloach has been in those meetings when 2 months ago we said 340 days. And so we don't need to take 340 days to complete this, or we might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking about what they said. And I kept asking them, now, the dates you're giving me, we're not going to say 340 later on. So
I used their numbers. I squished their contingency into the 270 to 340 range. There's actually 2 different time frames that they're basically saying they can't give me a firm date on. Both of those are associated with Georgia EPD approval. So that's why it's in there. And quite honestly, they're giving themselves some cushion in case EPD takes longer.
and
So
where are we in getting before EPD, Jamie and I talked about going to make sure they knew this was coming across their desk so that wouldn't be a delay.
So well, that's part of Part 3 of this project, and part of this task order is that they'll approach EPD with the DDR, I think is the term.
Yes, the DDR,
I'm sorry.
but I guess what I'm asking is, I encourage you guys to go ahead and look at, and if you can't go with us, Tim, maybe Mr. Loach and I could just drive up, but we'd like to give them an update on our growth and our needs, and this is coming across your desk. Please help us with it and make sure I think we need to do what we can on our side to make sure that's not 340 from today, it's 270 or less, okay?
But I'm assuming that probably this was one of the quicker timelines. I mean, I'm assuming there really wasn't somebody else out there that was much quicker on his timeline.
No, this was the timeline that Alliance put together for their design, the permitting, giving EPD time to respond back to them. This takes it through bidding and then into construction, so.
Right, these are the folks we've been talking to, though, in that
Yeah.
meeting that told me we could
And
do
then,
this.
remember, the 270 to 340 is also construction time, and they're
Right.
basically putting their neck on the line for a contractor who hasn't even proposed on the project yet.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a little bit of wiggle room in that 270, 340. That's 340 days till completion of construction is what they're estimating.
Right. Okay, I'm just gonna keep those dates before us, because.
And when did you say that timeline starts?
As soon as we approve this contract.
Okay.
So tomorrow, yes, sir.
Okay.
But, I mean, the issue is where we can shave off time is immediately when the permit applications go in, making, potentially reaching out to EPD, letting them know, how important it is to get a quick turnaround time on those. Then that's really the cushion they're putting into this contract, is because they can't control it. And so if we can get a quick turnaround time from EPD on these things, this will
Sure.
eliminate the need for the cushion.
And that's where we said we could help them by trying to get some
That's
political
right.
pressure. So if we could do that, it'd be great. And they gave us a date on that DDR when they were gonna have it ready to present.
Yeah.
They gave us a time frame, like 30 days or whatever it was, I don't remember what it was, but they gave us a
I
time
don't have my
frame.
notes in front of me, but
But
the
they just
DDR
weren't
should
sure
be
how long
soon.
it'd take EPD to approve it. That's why I said, well, we need to go up there and make sure they know it's coming.
Yeah, I thought it was like the end of this month or early July or something like
That's
that.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So we might need to be up there middle of July at the latest. Anyway, just keep that before you. Motion to approve alternative 1.
Make a motion to approve order number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Loper to approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 9, consider.
Chairman, can we take a quick 5 minutes, please?
All right, I'm gonna stay right here, because we don't have that much business left. So if you need 5 minutes to go to the restroom, do it, but if not, let's stay right here so we can get done.
Take medicine.
Okay, take off. Clock's ticking.
I know it looks like we have 15 minutes left, but it's probably gonna be an hour.
No, it won't be that long.
It's for
No.
$1, right?
Always is.
I don't see anything on here that's gonna be that long.
Mr. Chairman, you're that big, I made a motion, you seconded it.
I did it backwards.
It's all right.
I thought you made,
He made a motion, I made the second on the left side.
yep.
It doesn't matter.
No, I'll change it. Sometimes I get,
Yeah, they were just transposed.
Yeah.
sometimes I get hearing dyslexic.
Hearing too much.
Appreciate everyone else staying so we can continue pretty quickly. Did you hear the one about? Tim, had you seen the presentation that they shared before tonight?
Yeah, I'm the one who invited them.
Okay.
They did a presentation at the Mars Theater.
Yeah, I was gonna try to go to that. I
don't
couldn't,
think
I had a
that was
conflict.
invited.
Yeah, you're probably
kinda
right. I think it was
That
more
would be,
of
that would be,
Sarah.
that would be a great thing
present
to,
this.
use in communicating with the suppliers. Send it to Hyundai or whatever, you know,
What's that?
the suppliers with the Hyundai and the Hyundai folks.
Oh, that's right, yeah, we'll use this as our pitch.
I would send that
bring
to
them in.
some of those folks and say, we look forward to working with you and just a little bit about our community. And there might be some, and the new person that you've got approved might could take that and then build another type of video with certain things, but,
It's a good first project for PIO
mhm,
that you all just approved.
yeah. And get that out to all these, folks who are coming into our communities around us.
Let's see. Which one did we just approve? And the other ones are pretty routine up until,
Hey, did you check that email? Was it, on the, calendar? What'd it say?
Chamber banquet reception. I printed a copy of it and put it on your chair.
Mine says growth and density work session. I'm looking at July. That's what I was looking at. Okay. Yep, that's what I did.
meant to tell you.
For those who are here, just, we do have a calendar change because of a conflict with the chamber meeting. Let you know, we're doing a growth planning meeting with our community on the 23rd of June. We had to reschedule that for July 21. So if you don't see that notice, I want you to show up for a growth meeting and miss the wonderful
July
chamber banquet.
21st,
July 21st,
supposed to be on Thursday, right?
Thursday.
Okay.
Okey-doke, we're all back at the table, so we'll continue on. Item number 9, consideration to approve a work order number 6 with Atlas for engineering design of an alternative intersection design to the Effingham Parkway and Blue Jay Road intersection.
This is Eric Larson again, Assistant County Manager. At the last meeting, you saw a presentation from Pond, our transportation consultant. They had studied an alternative intersection for Blue Jay and Effingham Parkway, and that was a roundabout alternative. It was a presentation only. Since then, we have engaged Atlas, our design engineer for the Effingham Parkway, and requested a proposal from them to carry that concept into design and submit to DOT for approval, and then at which point DOT would then add it to Balfour Beatty as a construction change order. The design change order request from Atlas is for $233,525, and staff is recommending approval.
Any question or discussion? Motion to approve alternative one.
Make a motion to approve order number one.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Loper, second Mr. Deloach to approve alternative one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself on the EOM operations items due to a banking relationship.
Okay. If you'll note, Madam Clerk, that Mr. Deloach has recused himself and has stepped down to be with the constituents. We're looking at item number 10, consideration to approve amendment number 2, the extension of the master service agreement for professional services for EOM operations to perform public works related to engineering tasks.
Good evening again, it's Eric Larson, Assistant County Manager. The next 5 items, as Mr. Deloach pointed out, are related to EOM's annual contracts. We have multiple contracts and task orders with EOM, so I'm going to do these individually as required, but you're going to feel like I'm jumping around quite a bit because the order that they're on the agenda. So we have public works contracts and we have engineering contracts for the different services that we receive from EOM. The first one here, number 10, is a master service agreement for engineering professional services. And as you see in the summary recommendation, this is a approval of a second amendment to that master service agreement for professional services. EOM has been doing these services since 2018 for us. This is the master agreement that allows us to utilize their services for things such as plan review, MS4, watershed protection plan, and et cetera. So this is the master service agreement only, an extension of that.
Okay, that was confusing to me because later on we're going to approve their work for the MS4 and the, what
Yes,
it's
sir.
called. and
Yeah.
the-
We got to approve the extension of the master service agreement,
So
then we
there's no
approve
dollars with
extension of
this
the
first agreement. This
task
just
orders.
allows us to contract with them for the others?
You do have to approve the extension of this agreement for
Right,
1
but
year.
there's no dollars related to this agreement. I didn't see it in the packet.
No, there's no dollars associated with that. It's all the task orders that you're following.
I got you. So this agreement just allows us to contract with you for the other things we're gonna do. Okay.
Okay.
That was a
I
little
noticed
confusing.
on some of them, the dates might have been wrong, but I think it's just a clerical.
I do have a couple of typos to point out when we get to those
Okay.
points. Yeah.
This one, I know, this amendment number 2,
Yeah.
just the dates under item number 1.
Yes, sir. And you have correctly pointed out typo number 1, then I need to get correct.
You need to point
On
those out
page-
for the master service agreement before we vote on it?
Yeah, your page 371 in your packet is the amendment for this fiscal year, and there is a typo on that. It has June 30th, 2021 to July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022, and that obviously should read July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. That's on page 371 in your packet. It's amendment number 2 referenced in the staff report.
And I just caught that because I was trying to follow the previous agreement.
Yeah. And you'll notice also the attachments are not in the order that's on the staff report, so that's why I wanted to point out it's page 371 is the new agreement for this year. Staff's recommending approval of that master service agreement extension.
Okay. And that's alternative 1 to approve that with the date changes on that amendment too.
All right, now make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kiefer, second by Mr. Loper. Approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 11. Consideration to approve task order number 5 for EOM operations to perform civil engineering related tasks.
Sir, again, Eric Larson, Assistant County Manager. This is the first of 3 task orders on that master service agreement you just approved. This is for engineering, civil engineering services. Their attached proposal starts on page 378 of your packet. And in general, it is design review services for plan review, capital improvement program assistance, and project inspection. And that's both capital projects and private development projects. We utilize them for inspection of both. EOM has been providing this service via the master service agreement since 2018. For this year, the cost of task order number 5 is $252,288, and staff is recommending approval.
Okay, just a quick question, is that, I think I saw hourly rates in there as well?
Yes.
So is this up to that amount, or is that just what they get paid on a, divided by 12, do it monthly or whatever?
That is the base amount. There are hourly rates for out-of-service, out-of-scope services. So you'll see a listing of out-of-scope or additional services that are provided, and those are done at an hourly rate.
I saw that, just wasn't sure if that was up to that. So that's the fee they get for the civil engineering.
Yes, sir.
Oversight and view and so forth. Okay. Any other question, discussion? Motion for alternative 1?
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
A second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second Mr. Kiefer for alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. And now, item number 12, consideration to approve Amendment 5 to EOM's operation contract to perform public work related task.
Yes, sir. Eric Larson again, Assistant County Manager. I'm going to shift gears again. This is my apologies for the order of the agenda. So we're going to take engineering, set it aside for a second, talk about public works. This is the contract with EOM to provide public works related activities as the management of our roads, fleet, water, sewer, wastewater plant. They're engineering functions, but you understand the difference between, consulting engineering services we just been talking about versus the operations and management of our systems. So this is Amendment 5 to that agreement. We have been utilizing EOM in this capacity since 2015. As I mentioned, they provide services related to public works, fleet maintenance, water distribution, wastewater collection and treatment. The current contract that you have was approved in June 20th, 2017, and it has been amended multiple times since then. There are 2 things I want to point out. It's on page 382 is the agreement that you'll be signing for this current year. There is a typo in the very first paragraph. This is amendment extension number 5, not number 4. It's correct in the title, but the first sentence of the opening paragraph, it says 4. It needs to be corrected to 5. And then I do want to note on that same page about halfway down, if you'll look under bullet 5, now therefore, subparagraph 5, I do want to highlight the fact that with this agreement, this is an extension for 5 years. This amends the agreement to allow for 5 more extensions, or 4 more extensions plus this one for 5. You did this once in amendment number 1, so our current contract's been ongoing 6 years as a result of us having this extension agreement where we can go in and just negotiate an extension with them. And so I just want to point that out with Amendment 5 that there's an extension request for 5 years in there. The amendment number 5 is in the amount of $2,351,632. Staff is recommending approval.
What was the previous contract for? How much? I didn't see that in the packet.
I have it written down. The initial agreement.
I know last year.
Last year's. I'm sorry. $2,248,800.
And what's the increase?
It's $2,351,351. So roughly $100,000, $103,000 from
I mean,
last
percentage wise, what's the percent? Have you done that?
I haven't done that percent in my head.
100?
I can real quick.
Is that about 5%? Sound about right?
Sounds about right.
That sounds reasonable. I was just checking.
One thing to note.
I know we got some cost increase. I know.
Well, one thing to note.
Who wants to get a raise?
Yes, sir. I was going to say one thing to note in the master service agreement, the original agreement, there are adjustments allowed for expanded system services. We continue to grow. We continue to add pipe and lift stations and other components of our system that requires more manpower. EOM's allowed to ask for increase for that. There is adjustments for CPI, fuel and emulsion prices, asphalt-related, fuel, oil-related activities. So we have several adjustments in there. EOM takes that into consideration when they create their budget for the year and present to us.
Who pays for the gas in the trucks? Do y'all pay for that?
You know, we're paying for the Effingham units, any EOM units that we utilize, we pay for all the insurance.
Okay. That's one reason you can keep the 5% increase, because that'd be a huge increase if we were paying for that.
Salaries right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we appreciate everything y'all do and all your support and help. Kristen, Charlie, Liberto, our EOM folks back there, thank you. Any other discussion?
Make a motion to approve alternate number 1.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Loper, second, Mr. Kiefer, to approve alternative number 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 13, consideration to approve task order number 6, EOM operations to perform MS4 related tasks and to assure compliance with county's municipal separate stormwater system, MS4 permit.
Again, it's Eric Larson, Assistant County Manager. Back to the engineering side, Master Service Agreement for Engineering. This is a task order on that agreement, number 6, for MS4 stormwater permitting related activities. You'll see their proposal on page 439 of your packet. It is basic MS4 compliance, which involves field work, public education outreach, annual reporting, data collection, a lot of administrative tasks that are associated with that permitting program. The dollar amount for this year, they have been providing this service, we back up that we are an MS4 community since 2014, and EOM's providing these services since 2019. And the amount for task order 6 for the upcoming fiscal year is $21,300. Staff is recommending approval.
Any questions or discussion? Motion to approve alternative 1.
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Burdette, second Mr. Kiefer, to approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. Item number 14 under new business, consideration to approve task order number 7 for EOM operations to perform MS4 related task to assure implementation with the county's watershed protection plan.
And this is the last one in this grouping. My name is Eric Larson, Assistant County Manager. This is a extension of task order for our watershed protection plan services. This involves a lot of field sampling and data analysis and reporting to Georgia EPD. EOM has been providing these services for the last couple of years, since 2020 for us. We've been doing it much longer than that prior to EOM coming on board with these services. The agreement that you're signing tonight starts on page 451 of your packet, and it outlines those services. Again, it's a lot of quarterly and semi-annual field sampling and data analysis and testing at the lab. The amount of this task order is $27,500. Staff is recommending approval.
Any questions or discussion? Give a motion.
Make a motion to approve alternate number 1.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Loper, second Mr. Burdette, to approve alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
And there was one thing I read in this, I was trying to find it. Kristen, I'll ask you this, where along with the civil engineering, whatever, you will help us find grant monies. Have you found us any grant monies?
Yes.
Why are you not
They're in
finding?
breach of
You
contract.
agreed as part of your task to find grant monies for these things as you help us plan and develop. I'm gonna be asking, I didn't know it was in there.
The new one actually does not have application in there.
Huh?
The new contract, I don't believe, had grant application in it.
I saw the highlight, I can't find it, but I'll highlight and send it to you.
To your staff, you actually bring in all of the staff.
Yeah. It was something that said they would look for grants and to help support this.
Things like road improvements, they'll make that sort
Yeah.
of thing.
I'm gonna be looking for grants. I'm gonna highlight that and send it to you and show it to you. All right. I was trying to find it now, but I can't locate it, but I saw it this afternoon. Appreciate you guys and what you do for us. Thank you. I remember, and note that Mr. DeLoach is back at the bench, please. Item number 15, approval of the lease agreement between Effingham County and the City of Springfield for the Fire Department building located 117 Highway 119, Springfield, Georgia.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Effingham County currently has a fire services agreement with the city of Springfield to provide fire services within the city limits. We currently occupy a building that they renovated for our behalf, and they have asked this year, mostly for legal reasons, that we enter into a formal lease. I've negotiated down a price of $1 per year for the building. Just kidding. No, it's just a nominal dollar amount for the lease, just so we actually have a lease on record with them. And staff is recommending approval.
Okay, motion.
Make a motion to approve order number 1.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Loper, second, Mr. Deloach. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. New business item number 16, consideration to approve to reappoint Herb Jones to the service of the non-public representative to serve as non-public representative for Effingham County on the Coastal Regional Commission Council. Motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Deloach, second, Mr. Loper, to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. And last item of new business, consideration to approve an amended lease agreement between the Board of Commission and the Renaissance Bank to extend the use of the facility.
Yes, sir. If you recall, when we purchased the building, we had agreed to lease back the bank portion of the building to Renaissance for a period of 3 years, first 2 being free, third being at market rate. They're asking an extension until they get their building complete, not to exceed 3 months at the current rate of $5,833.33 per month. And they also take care of our landscaping, so.
Well, that is a great rental rate, though.
That is, it's about, it's competitive, but it's close to the market, so it's about $14 a square foot, I think, somewhere around there.
How many square feet are they getting from us?
Oh, I don't remember.
I thought it was about 10,000. It's not that many?
Oh, no, it's not that many.
Okay.
And it's not causing an issue with the plans
No,
we
and
have?
because of, our renovation is tied to SPLOST, we still don't even have those plans, so we don't think this is really going to interfere with our need to occupy. We do need the space, but it's going to have to get renovated first.
Yeah, if we're getting $14 square feet, I was looking, I think 15 to 20 is the market, so you're right, we're close to the market. I just thought they got more square footage than that. Do you have a motion to approve the extension?
Make a motion to approve the extension.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Deloach, second by Mr. Burdette to approve the extension, which is alternative 1. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Hearing none, it passes unanimously. That concludes our business, and we'll see if there's any reports from our staff, and then we'll go to our clerk and then Commissioner.
Yes, sir. And so I do have a need for an executive session to discuss a couple items related to property purchasing. To give you an update on something you approved recently, we did go under contract for the facility in Rankin for a new ambulance station there. And that should close, I believe, within about 30 days. And then we'll start working on it.
Okay. Any questions for our county manager? Madam Clerk, do you have anything for us tonight?
I'm sorry. Just a couple reminders of the chamber reception on Thursday, June 23rd from 6 to 8. That will be at the local on Laurel. You all have been registered for that. I have been in communications with our interim recreation director, Ryan Sanders. There are members of the rec board who wishes to come off. They're in the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th districts. So just kind of think about replacements for that board. And your EOM monthly report for last month will be emailed to you.
Okay. This dinner on Thursday night, is that our spouses invited as well?
It's not noted on the invitation. We get 8 tickets through our professional services agreement.
So there is an extra seat for two.
Okay, thank you. All righty.
And that's the chamber banquet Thursday.
I do have my grandbabies here this week, so I was gonna go if Pam could go, but she can't. I might sort my tickets so one of you guys could carry your spouse if you like.
Didn't you say it's gonna be put off to 21st of next month?
That's the growth meeting. We had to change it because of the chamber meeting that conflicted with our growth meeting. The chamber had scheduled a banquet on the 23rd of this month. Is that right, 23rd? Yeah. And we had a growth meeting planned. So we changed our growth meeting to next month so that we could attend the chamber.
We're talking about this coming Thursday.
It's coming Thursday.
Starts at 6.
6.
6 to 8.
Yeah. I'd love to be there. I always enjoy being a part of this, but if one of you want to use my ticket for your spouse to go, just hire me, because I'd go if we could both go, but. Okay. All right, I just don't want to take away from anybody else's spouses going too. But talk to me and we'll see what we can work out. Anything else? Any from the staff? All right, go around the horn.
No, sir.
Had to spend some time in the ER yesterday. Took my kids fishing and ended up with a fish hook in my hand. So, in case anybody was wondering, the ER is doing a good job and great customer service. So, just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, Jamie, I have removed 2 fish hooks in my life. I could remove that for you.
I've had a couple people tell me about the braided line trick. So I'm gonna go on YouTube. So maybe that'll save me a visit next time.
Yeah, you soak it on ice, you'll never feel it.
That's all I got.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. I don't have anything tonight, but we do have a need for executive session. Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Make a motion to go into executive session, discuss personnel, property, and pending litigation.
So,
Okay, motion by Mr. Kiefer, second by Mr. Deloach to go into executive session. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Hearing none, we are in executive session.
How long did you say before the bank was moving about?
It's 3 months, I think, from the,
Where did you?
I don't know if there's any chance they're gonna get built. I think, my understanding is right across.
One number I didn't write down.
Yeah.
You always close with a cigar.
It amazes me.
So-
They've hurt themselves, right? Because imagine if they went out under contract 3 years ago.